Hey everybody, it's Darkling Muffin, and welcome back to more Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In the last episode, we were summoned by the Great Deku Tree, but our forward progress was impeded by this jerk over here, who told us that we needed to get a sword and a shield. We also learned that something strange is going on in the forest, but we got ourselves that sword and shield, so now we can go see what the Great Deku Tree wants with us, which is what we're going to do in this episode. But before I go ahead, I did want to talk about Mido for a second, because he has a role that will become more important to the story later, but I want you to sort of keep this in mind as we go, that Mido sort of adds to is sort of the culmination of the sort of feeling of Link being an outsider in Kokiri Forest. Like, with the exception of Saria, all the other sort of Kokiri kids just talk to us like we're, you know, just someone they know, right? Like, they don't feel like they're our friends, they feel like they know us, with the exception, of course, of Saria. And Mido is the most rude about it to us, and that's something that I sort of want you guys to keep in mind as the story goes forward. But for now, let's head forward and see what the Great Deku Tree wants from us. But before we do that, we have ourselves our first enemy in the game. See what Navi has to say. Deku Baba, though it looks withered, it will hurt you if you touch it. So yeah, these guys, you can pretty much only get hit by these guys if you run straight into them, but you can just attack them with any old attack with the sword, and they will drop a Deku Stick. Tap the item icon on the lower screen to open the item subscreens, then set it to 1, X, Y, or 2. Swing it using 1, X, Y, or 2. When you want to put it away, stand still and press A. You can only carry a certain amount, so don't waste them. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys in the item subscreen. This is our first item. This is the Deku Stick. Gonna throw that on my X button. You can pull it out and slash around like a sword. Hey guys, Future Me here, chiming in with the N64 version, because I didn't do a really good job at explaining the Deku Sticks. So a regular slash with the Deku Stick actually does the same amount of damage as a jump slash with the Kokiri sword. And when you do a jump slash with the Deku Stick, it actually does twice that, but that only applies to the N64 version. In the 3DS version, a jump slash will actually do the same amount as a regular slash with the Deku Stick. It doesn't do the damage multiplier, so it's a much weaker weapon, but I just wanted to clear that up, and back to past me. And I guess I kind of forgot to mention, but, you know, the sword is just kind of used with the B button. You can stab, you can do a horizontal slash, vertical slash. If you hold the button, you can do a spin attack, which doesn't do any more damage, but it does have a sort of area of effect type deal. We've got ourselves 3 Deku Sticks, so that's going to be enough. Let's finally go and see what the Great Deku Tree wants from us.
Great Deku Tree, I'm back!
Oh, Navi, thou hast returned. Link, welcome. Listen carefully to what I, the Deku Tree, am about to tell thee. Thy slumber these past moons must have been restless and full of nightmares. As the servants of evil gain strength, a vile climate pervades the land and causes nightmares to those sensitive to it. Verily, thou hast felt it. Link, the time has come to test thy courage. I've been cursed. I need thee to break the curse with thy wisdom and courage. Dost thou have courage enough to undertake this task? Then enter, brave Link, and thou too, Navi. Navi the fairy, thou must aid Link. And Link, when Navi speaks, use the Navi icon to listen well to her words of wisdom.
So the Great Deku Tree has been cursed, and expects us to take care of that curse. Let's see what's inside. This is the Deku Tree. In here, starting off here, we have our first enemy, or our first new enemy of the Deku Tree. This is a Deku Baba. If you hit it when it lunges at you, it will stand upright. Cut it quickly to get a Deku Stick. So that is one way to defeat this enemy. It'll lunge at you, then you can hit it to stun it, and hitting it again will get you a Deku Stick, just like the Withered Deku Baba. However, the other way to fight them is if you don't wait for them to lunge at you, you can get yourself a new item. You got some Deku Nuts. Tap the item's icon on the lower screen to open the item subscreen. Then set them to 1, X, Y, or 2. Set them and try throwing one with 1, X, Y, or 2. It'll flash and stun the enemy. Deku Nuts are a grossly underrated item by new players in this game. Using it stuns enemies. It's pretty incredible. You can instantly stun this guy to get more Deku Sticks. I'm actually going to get some more Deku Nuts by waiting through its attack cycle. Oh, apparently that was not waiting through its attack cycle well enough. That's fine. Let's just go ahead and climb up this ladder and see what's further up, because, actually, first of all, let's come down here. You'll see down here, Navi has something to say to us here.
Look, Link! You can see down below this web using the eye icon!
Yeah, there's something down there, and we need to find a way to, well, get down there. Let's go ahead and climb back up this ladder. Interesting thing about the Deku Stick that I wanted to bring up is that in earlier versions of the game, Deku Sticks, actually very close to release, Deku Sticks didn't seem to be meant to break. Early footage shows it as,
oh, look at this wall! The vine's growing on it, give it a rough surface. Maybe you can climb it, Link.
Thank you for interrupting me, Navi. The Deku Stick doesn't, in more recent, not more recent, but early footage, but more recent, like pretty close to release, footage shows Deku Sticks as being a non-stackable item, and presumably they added the limited quantity feature because it is a stronger weapon and they didn't want people to abuse it. Anyway, we have a new enemy on the wall here. Skullwalchula, be careful not to touch it. Very simplistic description of the enemy, but we can climb up these vines, just as Navi was saying, but the Skullwalchulas will see to it that we don't get to go up there at all. There is a chest here. Let's go ahead and open it and see what's inside. You found the dungeon map. Tap the map icon on the lower screen to look at the detailed map. Blue chambers are places you have already visited. Your current location is the flashing room. Tap floor numbers to select a floor to view. Okay, so I'll quickly show off the map subscreen. You can have a look at it here on the lower screen here, and you can also tap on the different floors to see what the rest of the dungeon looks like. As you can see, the basement area that we were looking at before is right below the first floor room that we were in just a minute ago. And that's where we're trying to get to. But of course, we can't get there at the moment. Although, you may have seen something over here that might give you a little hint as to what we have to do. See, there's a heart that's just kind of floating off in space, and that's supposed to indicate that you're meant to jump off here. And in doing so, that makes the web get all bouncy. So that's interesting. There's some vines here for a quick get up. So it seems that the solution to this puzzle is to go up even higher and bounce the vines, or the web, even further to make it break, hopefully? We'll have to find out. But there's a door over here across this little gap. Let's see what's over this way.
You can open a door by standing in front of it and pressing A. Pay attention to what the action icon says. That's the A button on the upper screen.
Yeah, so standing in front of the door is the, we can open it. And we find yet another new enemy! Deku Scrub! I'm not going to do the voice for the bios, it's not an easy voice to do. Deku Scrub, it'll hide in the grass if you get close to it. Bounce the nuts it spits back at it. So if we get close to it, it's just going to hide in the grass, and there's not really much that we can, what we can do with it. But if we get far enough away and hold out our shield, it'll knock the nut back at it, and then It's gonna start running around the room. All we have to do is go up and touch it, and it'll, or we could just wait here. There we go.
Ow, ow, ow! Forgive me, Master. If I give you a tip, will you let me go? When you jump off a high cliff, if you hold the control stick forward, you'll roll on the ground when you land, and you won't get hurt from the fall. I can't guarantee it'll work, though, if the cliff is really, really high. Well, try it if you're feeling bold.
Okay, so that's an interesting little thing. If you jump off a cliff, if you want to avoid getting hurt, you can roll on the ground. And we can see a chest there, as well as a floating platform, so let's just go ahead and jump up to the chest. And oh no, the floating platform fell! And it broke! And it's gone forever. What are we gonna do? Actually, with that floating platform gone, we don't have an easy way to access the door to get out. But Navi has something to say about this.
Look! Something is hanging up there! It looks like an old ladder!
Yeah, it does look like an old ladder. Let's see if whatever's in this chest can help us out. You found the fairy slingshot. Tap the item icon on the lower screen to open the item subscreen, then set it to 1X, Y, or 2. Use 1X, Y, or 2 to take it out, or hold to load a Deku Seed. Aim with the control stick and release to fire. If you want to shoot right away, when you first use 1X, Y, or 2, hold it down a little longer to get a seed ready. I probably read that in a weird order, but let's go ahead and open up our item subscreen, and I'm actually going to put that on the X button, and I'm going to put the Deku Stick on, let's put it on item 1 there. And actually, while we're at it, no, hold on. Sorry, reorganizing is an important thing. I'm going to put the Deku Nuts on item 1 there. And, as they said, you can pull it out and hold the button to load a seed up, and if we let go, it'll shoot it. And so let's use our newly acquired item to shoot at this ladder thing and maybe knock it down. And indeed, that was the solution to the puzzle, but I'm not going to go that way quite yet because over here you might have noticed some vines. We can go ahead and climb up these vines to find a secret chest, which only contains a recovery heart, which we have full hearts, so that's not really helpful to us. Now, this room can be done without knocking the ladder down. All you have to do is jump around the floating block, and then when you're going back, you can jump on the floating block to get back, but that's what was intended, was the ladder. And now, with the slingshot, we have a ranged attack that we can deal with these Skullwaltulas with. So let's go ahead and deal with the Skullwaltulas. Also, if you don't feel like aiming, you can L target. I'm gonna keep saying Z target because that's what it was in the original, but you can L target them and shoot at them. Makes it a little bit easier to aim. And also a little thing to note about the Skullwaltula is that, well, we'll actually get to see it even better in a moment. So I'm gonna go ahead and climb up these vines. And up at the top here, you can see on the map, if you have a look at that there is another room to go to up here. So we'll go ahead and we'll have to go ahead and check that out. But first, it's another new enemy. Big Skulltula. Its soft belly is its weak point. The easiest way to deal with these guys is pull out your slingshot and shoot at them. But I did want to note that my entire life, I was kind of interpreting this enemy wrong. The skull is just a design on the Skulltula's back. That's not actually its face. Its face is down there. That's its head down there. So kind of an interesting little perspective shift that you don't really get until you're older. And that rupee just disappeared into the void of nothingness. We're not ready to jump down yet. We're going through this door here. And we can see a chest over on the other side and these weird little design patterns on the floor here. So let's step on the switch here. This is a switch, by the way. And if you listen to the sound, there is what it sounds to be a timer. So we gotta definitely hop across these and get this item before the things go down, like they just did. There's also a withered Deku Baba here if you need more Deku Sticks. I have plenty for the time being. Let's let's go ahead and open this chest to see what's inside. You found the compass. Now you can see the location of many hidden things in the dungeon. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and quickly switch back over to the map screen. You can see, in this map screen, you can see that there is a chest on the floor that we're currently on. If you go to this second floor, there's nothing there. First floor, again, nothing there. But in the first basement, there is yet another chest. So that's sort of what the compass allows you to do, and it also tells you the location of the boss, which if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, there is a skull icon. That is where the boss is. So quite useful information if you are prone to getting lost in dungeons, or if this is your first time playing. Of course, I know my way through the dungeons pretty well, but it's a good idea to look at the map and try to figure things out as you go. Get some more Deku sticks there. It's nice. I kind of haven't been... Whoop. Goodness, I wasn't ready to show that off yet. One thing that I kind of didn't notice, in fact, I'm actually going to jump back over to the chest here. One thing I didn't note before are these little things of grass. You can break these grass, just like the grass in Kokiri Forest that I never ended up cutting down. You can cut down the grass and get useful little goodies, including... Deku Seeds! You got Deku Seeds. These are small hard seeds that you can use as bullets for your slingshot. This is just a refill on your slingshot ammo. That's what you use to shoot. But we want to see what's in that chest over there. So let's go ahead and see what's in that chest over there. I am very good at using the words. Now there is a big Skulltula here to deal with, but you can just jump around them. Not a big deal. And I'm gonna take him out just for the heck of it, because why not? It's fun. What's in this chest here? It's yet another recovery heart, just in case you've been taking damage. Now this here is a new enemy. This enemy is not targetable. I cannot L-target it. But if we could L-target if we could L-target it, there is text left over in the game's code for what Navi would have said if you could L-target it, and that text reads, "This is also known as the Spider of the Curse. If you beat it, you'll get a token as proof." Or, sorry, Gold Skulltula. This is also known as the Spider of the Curse. If you defeat it, you get a token as proof. So that is what Navi would have said about these guys if you could L-target them. Of course, we haven't heard of anything involving a curse or anything, but killing it drops a Gold Skulltula token. You destroyed a Gold Skulltula. You got a token proving you destroyed it. So that's something that's probably going to become helpful for us later in the game, but for now, we have no idea what that is. But if we ever come across any more Gold Skulltulas, we'll be sure to take them down and collect their remains. Now, you may have noticed that the door is locked. Navi can tell us about it.
This barrier is blocking the door. There must be some secret to opening it.
Indeed. And the secret to opening it involves this thing here.
It looks like that torch was burning not too long ago.
Okay, well, one little functionality of the Deku Sticks I haven't shown off is, if you walk through the fire, it burns the Deku Stick, and you can use it to light torches. Now, if you're quick enough, you can cancel the Deku Stick burning with your sword, and you get to keep your Deku Stick. However, and I'm going to show this off here, if you wait too long, the Deku Stick will... Give it a second. It'll burn out. So slash your sword before that happens, or you will lose it. But with all that being said and done, we are now very high up. We're on the top floor. And if you remember earlier, I was talking about how to deal with the web below. We can probably deal with the web below by jumping at it from up here. And the camera sort of shifts to kind of show that off as well. Let's go ahead and take the leap. And of course, it works just perfectly fine. Now, we land in some water very safely. Would have been terrible if we landed kind of over here instead. And we immediately see that there is another Gold Skulltula here. Now, this Gold Skulltula is a little bit more tricky to collect its token. Just shoot at it with your Deku Stick. And if you kind of line yourself up, you can take a leap from here. If you do a rolling jump, you actually get more distance off the jump because your jump distance is based on your speed, and your roll increases your speed, so that helps quite a bit. There is yet another spider up here, another gold Skulltula, so let's take that guy out as well. And one thing I'm going to note before we go any further, and that is my pronunciation of things. Now, The Legend of Zelda has very sparse official pronunciation guides for things in the game, and Skulltula is one of those things that people just can't seem to agree on how it's pronounced. I say Skulltula because the word is very clearly a portmanteau of the word skull and tarantula. And you don't say tarantula or tarantula, it's tarantula. So that's my justification, but you can go on and say whatever you want to say. Don't be fussy about it. As for other things in the game, I tend to just pronounce it how a Japanese person would pronounce it for the words that are not, portmanteaus or other English puns or stuff like that. I just say it how a Japanese person would say it, so that's why I say Deku as Deku, because that's how a Japanese person would say it. Obviously, they'd sound a bit more Japanese when you say it. Anyway, there's an unlit torch here, and we can't get to this chest because there's web in the way. If we step on this, it burns the web using the fire. So that's another way to get rid of web that we'll have to keep in mind, possibly for later. And opening this chest is yet another recovery heart. Who would have guessed? I wouldn't have. I am stupid. Anyway, that actually is an interesting little thing that teaches us that fire burns web. And as you can see over there, there is in fact a door that is being blocked by web. And there's also this upper area here that, try as we might, we can't jump to it. So that's clearly going to be a goal that we try to get to for later. But for now, let's go to the door that we actually can go to. Go ahead and grab our Deku Stick and light it up. And in order to get across, if you jump in the water here, it'll put the Deku Stick away immediately. So the only way to do it is to use the sort of raised bit in the water here. It's a bit tougher to see on the N64 version, but, little platform there to get across. Let's see what's through this door here. It is yet another Deku Scrub, so let's go ahead and use our shield to take it out once again.
Please forgive me, Master. I'll never do it again. If you spare me, I'll teach you something cool. You will never beat my brothers up ahead unless you punish them in the proper order. The order is 3, 2, 3, 1. 23 is number 1. Do you think I'm a traitor? I mean, I basically tortured the answer out of you, so I wouldn't really call you a traitor for that. But here we end up in a room where there's bars against this door, and there's this eye-looking thing there. Let's shoot it! Shoot the eye! Remember, kids, shooting things in the eye with a slingshot is good. Let's go through this door. Now this room is interesting, because there's After you get in the water, if you hold down A, you can dive. If you hold down L while underwater, you can change your view. I bet there's some interesting things down there.
Well, we'll have a look for stuff in the water later, because I want to show off this platform. This platform is very interesting, and I can't tell you why until later. But riding on this platform, this spiky spinning bar will not let us go through. But there is a little switch in the water over here if you have a little look around. Diving down to hit the switch lowers the water level. So, of course, you can imagine that would let us go underneath this spiky bar of spikes, spinning spike spins. And then be sure to jump across before the water goes back up, because you will be hit by that again, and it's embarrassing if you let that happen. Anyway, we got ourselves another big Skulltula here to take out with our slingshot. And I gotta say, I really like the Deku Tree as a first dungeon. I think it's a very well-designed dungeon, and I'm gonna get interrupted by Navi again.
Stand next to this block and grab hold of it with A. While holding A, you can push or pull it. If you stand next to the block and press A while pressing the control stick towards the block, you can climb on top of it. Pay attention to what the action icon says.
Sorry if that voice is getting a little grating. I've kind of... I did all the important cutscene Navi text in, before recording all this, but I'm doing all of this stuff live, and it's not easy on the throat, let me tell you. But by pulling this block, we can now climb on top of it and move forward. And as I was saying, the Deku Tree is really interesting as a dungeon. I feel like it's really well designed as being the first dungeon because it teaches you how to look for solutions to puzzles. The web puzzle, we learned how to get the web by going up the ladder and seeing there was this heart floating in midair, so we jumped towards the heart and we landed on the web and it bounced up and down. We learned how to push and pull a block, a thing that you will find will be very important for us to know later in the game. There was that web that we stepped on that switch, which burned the web, which taught us how to go through the next web. It's a really well-designed first dungeon. It teaches you how to learn, of all things. Crazy. In this room here, we have 2 unlit torches and a bunch of Deku Babas. So, naturally, let's light the torches, because that door is closed. Presumably, lighting the torches will, in fact, open the door for us. Pressing on, this is probably the worst designed Skulltula in the game, because it's just right there, it's facing away from us. Without even getting close to it, we can just kill it right here and now. No fanfare, just take him out. And you might see something dropping from the ceiling. That's a little strange. Let's go and inspect what that is. Oh no, it's a new enemy! Goma Larva, look out when it gets ready to pounce. It's gonna turn red when it's ready to pounce. Taking these guys out is pretty easy. Just give it a nice little sword slash, or you can use your Deku Nuts to stun them. Again, Deku Nuts are a very useful item that often gets overlooked in a lot of cases. So be sure to use your Deku Nuts wisely on enemies. Now, walking around here, there's going to be some more Goma Larva, so let's go ahead and take these guys out. Just slashing them with the sword is sufficient enough to kill them as well. Now there is 2 ways to go here. There's a web there and a web over there. Let's go to this one here first. Light the torch there. Not light the torch, light the Deku stick on the torch. And take out this Deku Baba, get an extra stick. And this wall, there's not really much we can do about this wall. We can roll into it, we can slash at it. Doesn't really help us. We're gonna have to come back here later when we have a way to deal with that wall. Spoiler alert, we're gonna have a way to deal with that wall. Go ahead and light our torch and head over to this other web. And we learned earlier in the game how to go through crawl spaces. That we can now do that. And once we come out here, this room, well, let's have a look at the map. If you look at the map here, might look a little familiar to you. This is the room we started in the basement. There's the torch over there that we first lit, the chest we opened, and the door over there. So we've made it a full circle, and we're back here. This block here, if we push it all the way out, yeah, block pushing is very slow in this game. I'm gonna stop at 1 early because I want to show you guys. This has always amused me my entire life. Just look how silly this is. It's just, that's not what blocks do. But by pushing it all the way, that creates a little shortcut. Back up there, we can come down here if we ever want to leave the Deku Tree. We don't need to leave the Deku Tree, but if we wanted to, we could. And we can now come back here were we to do that. Now there's another web here, but there isn't anywhere to drop onto it. And if we try to light our Deku stick on these torches, they're just way too high. They're just out of reach, and we can't really do that. So what do we do? How do we burn this web if we don't have access to fire? Well, you silly gooses, we have access to fire. What are you guys being all silly gooses for? There's fire right here. Come on. Grabbing the fire and walking over here, the quickest way to burn this web is to just use your shield. Managed to put that away in time before I fell, and we land in the water here, thankfully safe and sound. Now we have more Deku Scrubs to deal with here. Let's go ahead and take those guys out as we would. Shooting one will cause it to be stunned. Shooting the next one will cause it to be stunned. And shooting the last one, and by shooting I mean defending their bullets to be shot, we hear a not okay sound. It's not okay, we didn't do it right. Unfortunate. So clearly, as you see what I'm doing here, we have to do this in the correct order. Do you remember the order from earlier? You should, because 23 as number 1 is one of the most well-known answers to a puzzle in video games, I would say. It's pretty iconic at this point. So take out number 2 there, take out number 1 there, and take out, number 3. 23 is number 1!
How did you know our secret? How irritating! It's so annoying that I'm going to reveal the secret of Queen Goma to you. In order to administer the coup de grace to Queen Goma, strike with your sword while she's stunned. Oh, Queenie, sorry about that.
Link did a little spin there. That kind of takes away from the gravitas of this moment. Through this door, my friends, is that very Queen Goma that person was talking about. You can see it on the map subscreen. That is where the boss lurks. And we're gonna fight them next time on The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. See you guys then.